Hi, I'm Bob Hasegawa, your state senator for the 11th Legislative District, back with another biweekly update. Today I want to tell you a little bit about how this legislative process works, because every day the legislature, the Senate, publishes what we call, the official title is Draft Introductions, the First Reading of Bills, Memorials, Joint Resolutions, and Concurrent Resolutions. So what this is a list of all the bills that have been dropped by any senator yesterday. So you can sign up to be on my intro sheet list if you'd like. Just send an email to my office at bob.hasegawa@leg.wa.gov and just sign me up for the intro sheet. And we'll email these to you as soon as I get them. But the trick is, I only have till 5 p.m. the following day to take your advice or take your opinions and decide whether or not I want to co-sponsor that bill. So it's imperative that you get back to me as quickly as possible with your response. And just say, I like this bill, please sign on, or I don't like this bill, or it needs an amendment, or something real brief. Don't give me details about it, because with everybody responding to me, I don't have time to read all that, especially since, like today, for instance, is a 3-committee day. So I've got 6 hours at the minimum in committees today for the 3 committees that I serve on, which gives me very little of that 12-hour window to actually look at constituent emails to get a brief summary of where are you at on these issues. So sign up for my interest sheet list. At least you can stay on top of what's happening as far as bills being dropped here in the Senate. As an example, we just did some floor action on this bill, Senate Bill 5087. So I wanted to give you a little idea of what we go through here. So this bill is a Department of Revenue request bill, actually. And you can go to leg.wa.gov. In the left column, you'll see bill information. Click on that, type the bill number into that window, and you can get everything you need to know about that bill from that window. This happens to be the Senate bill report, so it gives a brief summary of what the bill does. In 5087, it just says, removes language from state laws identified as defects or omissions as reported by the Supreme Court pursuant to the state constitution. This is a particularly interesting bill because all it does theoretically is remove old and archaic language that the Supreme Court has found unconstitutional. So they asked our lead on the law committee, our law and justice committee, how come you never do anything? Because the Constitution says the Chief Justice needs to report these omissions and defects to the legislature every year. Supreme Court Chief Justice has been doing that, and he asked our lead, why have you never done anything with those letters? So this bill is a result of what the Supreme Court has asked for. So let me give you an idea of a couple of the things that they wanted omitted. So first off, they wanted to delete RCW 9.92.100, which is actually prevention of procreation. Now, guess what that has to do with? They want to, the Supreme Court has decided it's unconstitutional to sterilize people against their will. There you go. We're pulling that out of the state revised code of Washington. Here's another one. Capital punishment, aggravated first-degree murder. There's a section on that. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled capital punishment in the state of Washington unconstitutional. So we're pulling that whole section out. But here's one that I thought you might really find interesting. Subversive activities. So there is actually an RCW 9.81.083 that makes the Communist Party a declared subversive organization and illegal to belong to in the state of Washington. And you can't be in public employment, you can't do this, that, or the other. That has to get pulled out also. But this, the history of this stuff, this is a relic of the old Canwell era, which happened in the early 1950s. You might recall right after World War II, and the trade unions were building their power not just across the United States, but literally around the world. And so corporations don't want to have so much power in the workers. So they went after the leaders of a lot of these workers' organizations who happened to be communists as well, or members of the Communist Party. But it didn't matter if you were a member of it or not. It was just the accusation of being a member of that party is what really caused most people to get blacklisted or whatever. So the McCarthy hearings at the federal level and the Camwell hearings here in the state of Washington accused so many people of being communists, and they got this put into the code, many of whom were not, but they just happened to be leaders within the labor movement, all got blacklisted. The labor movement lost a lot of its talented leadership due to that blacklisting. And the labor movement has been struggling ever since, and you've seen the political power through the attacks from corporations and bosses against workers over the years, continually degrading our workforce labor protection laws. Anyway, long story short, that's what we're doing here in the state legislature, is passing bills, not just to move us forward into the future, but to recall the past and remove some of these old relics out of here. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Thanks for watching again this week, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks with my next update from the legislature. So nice chatting with you. I'm Bob Hasegawa, your state senator for the 11th district. Thank you.